Hello fellow aviators, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to do a real-world scenario-based instrument cross-country from Eugene to North Bend, Oregon. In today's scenario, I'm taking my Cessna down at the Atlantic FBO in the Malone Sweet Field to North Bend, Oregon, meet up with my friend Henry, who just finished renovating his 2010 Beneteau Oceanis 34. We're going to sail all the way up to the Puget Sound through the Pacific Ocean, an irrefutable offer that I know that I can't just let it go. But unfortunately, this morning, I was planning to leave early from Eugene. I overslept, and now we have to worry about the impending thunderstorm and low pressure system buildup around the North Bend area. I texted my friend Henry before grabbing all the cookies I can at the Atlantic FBO and did a thorough pre-flight, only to find out we need to fill my Cessna before this flight. With the crazy gas price in today's market, I decided to do the self-serve fuel station up at the North Ramp instead of using the FBO full service. So let's start it out with our before flight checklist. We have our fuel selectors on both, fuel shutoff valve is on, make sure it's idle, throttle quarter-inch in circuit breakers all checked in, electrical equipments are off besides beacon, and we're going to do the standby battery test. And lights going for 10 seconds, we arm the standby battery, our PFD are coming alive. Alright, looking at the engine instruments, no red axis. We have our essential voltage 24 volts above and mean is less than 1.5. Standby battery annunciator is on. Moving on to our engine start checklist, we have our beacon light switches. Gonna turn on our master switch. We will definitely prime the airplane since it's sitting out there in the cold for overnight. Alright, we primed the engine. Now we're going to look to our left and right. Get ready our mag, and we're going to say clear prop and start our engine. Nice and easy. Alright, checking the oil pressure in the green range, and meters are showing positive charge and voltage is 28 and above. Looking at the PFD annunciator, we do have the low fuel as expected and no standby battery annunciator, that's good. Now we're going to turn on our avionics. And we're going to verify the navigation data is current indeed. Hit enter, and we have our taxi lights and nav lights on. Now we're going to switch gears and take a look at our frequency at the airport. I can see that comm 1 active is going to be our tower 121.7, and our comm 2 active is the ADAS at Eugene Airport. As of right now, I'm not too worried about picking up our IFR flight plan since we're going to fuel our plane first. To do that, we do need to have a clearance from the ground so we can taxi from South Ramp to North Ramp.
Eugene Airport information Echo 2000 Zulu. Wind 246 at Niner. Visibility 10. Sky condition 2,600 feet scattered, ceiling 4,800 feet overcast. Temperature 12. Dew point 10. Altimeter tree 0.18. ILS runway 16 right and ILS runway 16 left in use. Landing and departing runway 16 right and runway 16 left. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft red back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have Echo.
Alright, now we have Echo, altimeter 3018. Now we're going to give a call to ground to take us to the self-serve fuel station. Now I have studied the taxi diagram of this airport. We just need to bring out the taxi diagram while we make them a call so we can mark down our taxiing instruction. Eugene Ground, November 6th Hotel Victor, South Ramp, Atlantic. Would like to get a taxi up to the self-serve fuel station with Echo. November 6th Hotel Victor, taxi North Ramp via Foxtrot Alpha Echo. North Ramp via Foxtrot Alpha Echo, 6th Hotel Victor. Number 3 Hotel Victor, read back correct. Coming up to the fuel station, we're going to do a full tank for our flight. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is actually look at our flight plan and get ready before we call the ground for our IFR clearance. Looking at the flight plan that I filed, we're going to depart from Eugene and going to the Eugene 1 departure, which is a diverse vector departure. Followed by the departure procedure, we're going to Vaughan and to Scotty on the vector 121, then direct to cruise our intermediate fix to our North Bend Airport. For today's flight route, I decided to actually stick with a vector airway since I know we might encounter some IMC conditions, and it's always a good idea to be on an established airway during IMC in case lost comm, you have less things to worry about. Now looking at our Eugene 1 departure, it's going to be a diverse vector, so we're not going to use any of the VOR depicted on the plan view. But something worth noting is the runway we're going to use. It's probably going to be 16 left, since that's going to be the standard departure for general aviation. We can definitely maintain a 335 feet per nautical mile all the way to 4,200 feet. For our departure route description, we're going to climb heading 164, which is the runway heading, then vector to assign route. In case of lost comm, after reaching 3,000, continue climb to assign altitude direct to Eugene Vortex, climbing Eugene Vortex holding pattern to cross Eugene Vortex at above MEA before proceeding en route. For our case, we're going to go for vector 121. Our MEA southbound will be 5,000 feet. Our departure frequency will be Cascade departure at 119.6. Let's look closely at our low IFR charts for our lost comm procedure. We'll be climbing southbound and return back to Eugene Vortex, climb and hold until we reach 5,000, and proceed to our Victor Airway to our destination. And obviously that would be a lost comm procedure for actual IMC condition. For today's scenario, we're going to fly VFR and just land back here as soon as practicable. Alright, now that we have briefed our departure and en route, we're going to bring out our craft clearance and pre-filled our destination, which is North Bend. Our route, we don't know yet, but we do know we're going to climb to 6,000 feet, which is our filed altitude. Our departure frequency would be Eugene 1 Cascade departure is 119.6, and we're ready to give them a call. It's worth noting that despite we did our flight plan thoroughly, we're not always going to get what we want from the ATC, so I made sure we have plenty of spaces to write down any new information. Eugene Ground Cessna 63 Hotel Victor North Ramp ready to pick up IFR flight plan. November 63 Hotel Victor, you're clear to Oscar Tango Hotel via runway heading, radar vector, then direct to cruise. Climb maintain 2,000, expect 6,000, 05 minutes after departure, departure frequency 119.6, squawk 4347. We're clear to Oscar Tango Hotel via runway heading, radar vector, then direct to cruise. Climb maintain 2,000, expect 6:05 minutes after departure, departure frequency 119.6, squawk 4347, 6-3 Hotel Victor. 3 Hotel Victor, read back correct. Alright, well, it seems like our flight plan got moved to direct to cruise, which is fine. We're still under the radar coverage. I would just like to build a little more safety envelope, but it will totally work. Alright, now we can give them another call for our taxi instructions. Eugene Tower, 6-3 Hotel Victor, North Ramp ready, taxi with Echo. November 6-3 Hotel Victor, taxi runway 16 left via Delta, Papa, Mike, Bravo, Bravo 1. Personnel equipment working at taxiway Bravo 2, taxi with caution. Taxi runway 16 left via Delta, Papa, Mike, Bravo, Bravo 1. 6-3 Hotel Victor. November 6-3 Hotel Victor, rebat is correct. Alright, now we received the taxi instructions, we can start taxiing to our runway. Alright, so I mentioned earlier regarding our flight plan change being less safe. I just want to clarify with my take on this. Usually, it's absolutely fine if you're doing cross country, under the radar coverage, if you're doing direct. The only reason why I like to build some safety margin by flying on an airway is for lost cause scenario, you are kind of limited with direct because you really don't know your obstacle guarantee besides the AROCA, which is the off-route obstacle clearance. And that just kind of complicate things a little because usually, not all the time, if you're doing direct and lost comm, you're required to meet that AROCA, which is usually higher than you would like to. And when it comes to descent and land, it just complicates a lot of things. Alright, coming up to our run-up area, we're gonna park here and do our run-ups. Alright, first thing first, we're gonna put our cascade departure 119.6 onto our comm 1 standby. Then we're gonna start programming our GPS onto our G1000 units. Just gonna select our departure airport Eugene and our departure procedure Eugene 1. And then cruise, which is our intermediate fix for our instrument approach down at North Bend. We're also going to reference our instrument approach place to find our circle minimum, which is 700 feet. Alright, after putting our flight plan into our GPS, we're going to start off our engine run-up, which is mixture full, and bring the RPM to 1800. Coming up to 1800 RPM, we're going to start our mag check. We're going to start with the right mag. RPM drops verified, back to both. Left mag. RPM drop, then back to both. We're going to do our alternator test. We have our mean voltage drop down to 24 volts, showing ampage discharge on the mean and essential. Warning lights on. Alternator back on. And then we're going to do our engine idle check. No engine roughness. Alright, back to 1000 and make sure laned. Now we're going to buck our heading indicator to 164, which is our runway heading. Altitude 2000, which is our initial heading assigned. Alright, at this point in time, we're pretty much set for takeoff, but I do want to bring out one note, which is in real-world instrument cockpit checklist, there are a couple more items that we need to check on our G1000, but since the Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't really simulate the entire functionality of G1000, there are certain things that we're missing. But if you guys do want to see the real full-on instrument cockpit checklist, I'd be happy to make another separate video in the future. Alright, let's roll up to the whole shore mark and get ready for takeoff. As of right now, we're going to continue monitor ground point 7. Since we're not quite ready to contact the tower, when we are up at the hold short line, we can then switch to our tower frequency and have our departure on standby. Now we have the tower on active, we're gonna reach out to them, tell them we're ready. Eugene Tower, Cessna 6-3 Hotel Victor, short 16 left ready. Cessna 6-3 Hotel Victor, hold short 16 left waiting for IFR release. Hold short 16 left, Cessna 6-3 Hotel Victor. After what feels like years of waiting, we finally heard back from the tower. November 6-3 Hotel Victor, runway 16 left, clear for takeoff, no delay. Runway 16 left, clear for takeoff, 6-3 Hotel Victor. Alright, now we're gonna turn on our landing lights and strobe lights, make sure the mixture is full, transponder code verified, ready to roll. Alright, final is clear. Noting the wind is coming from the right, runway 16 left verified, center line, full throttle, engine instruments are in the green, airspeed alive, crosswind from the right correcting, speed 55, rotate, correcting for the wind. After we can ensure that we can cross the departure end of the runway at least 35 feet and above, we can slowly bring back to runway heading and without any wind correction. Right about now, Eugene Tower told us to contact the Cascade departure. Cascade departure, Cessna 6-3 Hotel Victor, 1,400 climbing 2,000 via the Eugene 1 departure. Aircraft calling the departure, say again. It's a Cessna 6-3 Hotel Victor, 1,700 climbing 2,000, Eugene 1 runway heading. November 6-3 Hotel Victor, roger. Radar contact 2 miles south of Maloon Sweet Field, indicating 1,800 climbing. Turn right heading 200, climb maintain 6,000. Turn right heading 200, climb maintain 6,000, 6-3 Hotel Victor. At this point in the video, we finished our departure procedure and handed over to Cascade departure. For the next part of the video, we're going to pick up right where we left off and start our en route segment of our cross-country flight. Hope you enjoyed the video and stay tuned.